So Vegas was able to offset a lot of this money that was on Kansas City last week with Jacksonville covering the first half. You see, there was a lot of money that was taken on Kansas City. I actually had Kansas City in this matchup, and I was a little bit worried about them covering this matchup. That's why I didn't want to post this play online, but I did like Kansas City in this matchup. But I think Jacksonville should have probably covered this game, the full game. But if you notice the first half here, it's 7-3, and the full game line, it was actually getting juiced at -120 at -3. They wouldn't move off of the 3 because they were afraid of the sharp money coming in on Jacksonville. That's why they started juicing the -3 at a lot of sports books. So what happens is if they move off that number, the sharps, if they move it to 3.5, 4, whatever, the sharps could end up coming back in on the other side. And you saw this game, the final score was 17-9, and it was a 5-point game with less than, it was like 5 minutes left or 6 minutes left in the game, I believe. So it was a close game, and if that number landed on 3, then they would be able to hit both sides. If it was, because the opener was 2.5 on Kansas City, moved to 3, and then they started juicing that 3, that -3. So they were getting a lot of public action on Kansas City here. But if you notice this first half was really close. So they were doing a lot to have Jacksonville actually stay in this game. And if you notice, there was 14 seconds left. It was 7-3. Kansas City's about to cover this first half here, and somehow they were able to get a field goal out of this and cover the +2.5 in the first half. So it was 7-6 to end the half. So when I say offset the money, they already, by them winning the first half, because there was a lot of people that took the first half as well on Kansas City and they lost. So the sports books were able to offset a lot of that Kansas City money that they got for the full game, and they got it back already in the first half. Okay, so the full game could play out a lot differently than the first half did. So that's what I mean when a lot of people think that these games are fixed. A lot of the times they're controlled to a certain degree, but they can offset some of this money in the quarters and also the halves, which a lot of people don't look at when they're looking at these lines. So the game, I want to take you to the actual line and the full game. The first half line was 1.5 pushed to 2.5. So Jacksonville ended up covering 7-6. Now, if you look at the full game line, it was, let's see, it was 3. So a lot of books had it at 3. And it was getting juiced at -120 here. They didn't want to move off this number. I know FanDuel moved it to 3.5, and Caesars moved it to 3.5, but for the most part, it stayed at -3 for a long time at -120. They didn't want to move off of that because of that reason, that the sharps were going to come back on the other side, and possibly the public was going to hit Kansas City. They would stand to lose a lot of money on this game. So I mean, they did lose a lot of money on this game, but they got a lot of it back in the first half as well. So that's how they're able to offset a lot of this action that they get. The more action that they put out there, the more lines they put out there, the more action they get, the more money they make. And that's why no matter what happens, I mean, whether they control a first half or a full game, they're going to get the money back anyways, because they have the first halves and the quarters to assist them. So that's what I want to touch up on this video. And then you saw the score. It was 17-9. It was close the whole way. And I do believe Jacksonville should have covered the game, but Kansas City ended up covering this game. Sportsbooks probably lost a little bit on this matchup. Not very much, but they did lose on this matchup. So I'll be back with some more videos. So comment, rate, and subscribe, and I'll see you then.